Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you all for joining me. This is really a wonderful opportunity to share some great news with you. And I, of course, will do that at the end of this presentation. But first of all, some of you might not know Viking that well or haven't had a chance to come on Viking yet. So I want to give you a brief overview of things that we do very successfully, if I might say so, for a number of years. And so let me start with our core product. This is what we're known for, right? Viking is known as the river cruise company in the world. We started as a river cruise company. We're certainly the largest out there with over 80 ships now in the water. And what's beautiful about this type of vacation is that we're visiting the great cities in the world, in Europe, all over the world for that matter. And hopefully soon again, Paris, Vienna, Budapest, just to name a few. And we're stopping right in the heart of town. That is really absolutely incredible. And many of these shore excursions that we're doing starting as a walking tour, right? So after boarding, you unpack once, you have your hotel following you around the entire time. Staterooms are, well, comfortable is an understatement. They're beautiful, comfortable. They're your home away from home. Amazing amenities that we're offering. You know, gorgeous bathrooms, plenty of storage room in those rooms available for all your belongings. And you know, by default on a cruise, that's not only on a river cruise, by default, you see a new scenery every single day. And especially on the rivers, as you're gliding down or up the river, you know, you wake up in a new, magnificent new destination every single day, a new outstanding scenery, towns, castles, vineyards. And, you know, the nearby city is never far away. So get your camera ready and be ready for this. Now, the river ships, as I mentioned, dock right in the heart of town. It's very convenient. And what we're always trying to do is dock near cities or in cities that have UNESCO World Heritage sites, right? That is important to us because our approach at Viking is to bring you the cultural experience, to immerse you into the culture, the art, the history, the music, even further than that, the culinary world. So all of that is very much part of travel and part of what we're offering to you. The experience on our river ships is very intimate, only 190 passengers if completely booked. And you get to know your fellow travelers. And I can tell you right now, since we're traveling with Canadian folks, you know, guests from the United States, from Great Britain, New Zealand, everybody speaks English. So it's very easy to make new friends, to connect. What you're seeing here is our Aquavit Terrace. You have al fresco dining, in-room, indoor dining on the ships, a variety of different venues on board. And the experience is very inclusive, right? That is something, it presents a great value, right? So you see those iconic sites in each destination. So your shore excursion is included with English-speaking guides. There's optional tours that we offer every single day, but your daily shore excursion, your overview of the town is always included. So so what you're seeing here is Budapest. Excuse me. Now, let's talk a little bit about the food. I mean, we all need to eat. And I tell you right now, one recommendation I always make is don't start a diet before going on a Viking cruise. I can tell you right now, we're likely to ruin it. It never fails. That's one of the few complaints that we have. Oh, I gained so much. Well, you're also walking a lot. You know, the dining has come really, really far on these ships. We're having culinary professionals. There's chefs that cook meals every single day. And of course, it's the food of the destination. It's what the region has to offer. It's locally sourced fresh foods from the region, cooking with the wines, the cheeses, and the charcuterie from the destination. Also, we are making sure that you're getting the background stories. You have your entertainment on board, which is oftentimes on the river ships folkloric, but you have your historians that also lecture on the history of the destination, on the culture. So the entertainment on board is folkloric. You don't have the big show venues, that is correct, but it's overall very enriching and kind of bringing the destination, even in the culture, to you on board. What's wonderful is that you're traveling at your own pace. And what does that mean is you choose the pace every day, whether you want to rub elbows with the locals or you want to travel a little slower, do the highlights only. One thing is in common, you're not rushed, there is no crowds. You can rent a bike or a tour on your own. Oftentimes we offer canoe or kayak tours, for example, in the Vienna marshes, or even on oceans, we have those now as well. So you can make this as active as you wanted it to be. Now, the question is always, where should I start? If somebody has never done a river cruise, the question is, where should I start? And we do see a trend where the cruises that I've listed here for you are great first-time traveler experiences. The Rhine Getaway, 8 days, the Romantic Danube, 8 days, or the Grand European Tour, 15 days, where you sail pretty much from the top of Europe all the way down to the Balkans to Budapest. Is an absolutely amazing experience. But there's so much more. Don't let me discourage you to look beyond these. Talk to your Bon Voyage travel advisor. They are very well versed in all Viking matters. They know the Egypt product. They know Russia, Southeast Asia. There's so much more to explore on all of the rivers of the world. Now, there's so many angles to a river cruise that a river cruise can do to you. For example, where are my wine lovers, my beer lovers, right? So the angle here is we of course, go out into the vineyards. We learn about the vine culture in the region, and it is often very much ingrained into the local culture. Chateaus, rivers, and wine in Bordeaux. I don't think there is any more higher end or any more important region to visit than Bordeaux region, the Périgord, the Margaux region, Lyon and Provence with the Châteauneuf-du-Pape region, or the birth grounds of the Syrah, the famous Syrahs, Paris and the Swiss Alps. We're touch on the Champagne region, cities of light, again, the Moselle wines, the Rhine wines, and the Franconian wines. So when we sail through Portugal, of course, going to be the port wines. The culinary focus is undeniable, very important to our guests. And we see that also on our shore excursions, where those tours that are guided by a chef, by our local professional on board, are very, very well visited and frequented as well. Now, for the history enthusiasts, come to mind the Paris in the heart of Normandy, of course, visiting the beaches of Normandy that were so difficult to storm during D-Day, and we visit the American Cemetery. We visit many of the battlegrounds of World War II. The Grand European Tour also focusing on many historic events all throughout the ages, going back to Roman times and further even. Or Passage to Eastern Europe, where we reflect on some more recent history, where we peek behind the Iron Curtain, learn about how people lived in more recent history, in more recent years. 70, 50, 40 years back, the fall of the Iron Curtain is not that long ago. Now, one thing I want to mention before moving on to our latest river cruise edition is that Viking is the most awarded river cruise line out there. We're doing that for over 20 years, so we're very well experienced in everything small ship cruising. That's our niche. That's what we do, small ship cruising, and we're doing it very well and very experienced in that. So, without going through all these awards, let me introduce to you, if you haven't heard yet, we will be on the Mississippi in 2022 and beyond, of course. So this is the first of our beautiful ships. Conveniently, her name will be Viking Mississippi. The vessel is absolutely gorgeous, and it was designed for the needs of the Mississippi, the height of the bridges in mind, and the current, and all the needs that make the Mississippi so unique, right? Scandinavian design, so it's not a paddle wheeler. Very, very beautiful. On the interior, reminds you more of an ocean vessel. It is substantially larger than our river ships in Europe, but certainly built with the purpose of, getting into the ports. You see St. Louis here in the background, and this will be just one of the many ports that we're visiting along the Great American River. So when you look through the first season, and that is here you see the itineraries of the first season. There's 4 of them, right? There's 8-day cruises and a 15-day itinerary, the Great American River. Obviously dictated by the climate, by the weather in the destination, where we kind of have to adhere to what can be done in the wintertime. Probably not a good idea to go to St. Paul but we'll stay in the excuse me, in the southern states, and then in the summertime when we go from St. Louis all the way to St. Paul. But please, for more details, I can only scratch on the surface here. Please see your Bon Voyage travel advisors. Again, they have all the information for you. If you're interested, you may want to look at this sooner than later. The 2022 season is selling very, very well. Likely that we're not having all sale dates available, and you're looking at 2023. So from rivers to ocean, that happened in 2015 when we built our first ocean ships. There's 6 now in the water, with 10 more in the making in the next 10 years. And the wonderful news here is that we won #1 cruise line in the world on oceans as well for 5 years consecutively, which makes us very proud. Now, there's a reason why this is, right? Why this product has become so, well received. And let me go over a few of them. Impossible to do all of them, but just a few. The dining on board is incredible. And again, we'll write the culinary part very, very big. That's very important to us. But important is also that all these amazing venues on board that you see here are completely included in your cruise fare. It is, like the river cruises, a very inclusive kind of a product, whether it's the 24-hour room service or the restaurant, Manfredi's. All these incredible venues are included with your fare. Now, unique with Viking is that we are focusing, or we are catering to, a specific age group. Those are clients in their 50s and older, right? So there are no children on board. We don't have a kids program, no children under 18, no casinos, because the focus is not to have you out at sea playing in a casino, but to have you in port, experiencing the destination as long and as much as possible. We also have less days at sea, more days in port. That is our main goal and focus. So no photography sales, no art auctions, those kind of things is just not something you will find on Viking. But you will find included Wi-Fi. You will find wine, beer, and soft drinks included with your meals. You will find free access to laundrettes. These are fantastic features that will really come in handy, especially if you combine it with a land tour or a pre and a post, to have access to a laundry, in between. No nickel and diming. That's really all of what we're focusing on. No waiting in lines. And one last thing I want to point out here is that we have no indoor rooms, no inside rooms. Every single cabin on Viking is a veranda cabin. So not only do you have an outside cabin, you have your own veranda, and there's no such thing as obstructed views, one room better than the other. They're all fantastic. Now, speaking of the interior of these vessels, serene Scandinavian design. That's the key word here. Ships are elegant, they're light-filled spaces, they bring in a lot of daylight with ceiling-to-floor windows all around. Absolutely gorgeous, with lots of art, literature, and culture around you. Even, you can even download the Viking art app on board, since Wi-Fi is free, right? So if you do have a day at sea and you want to tour the more than 1,000 art pieces, sculptures, photographies in our areas on board, you can do that, and you get the explanations on your very own app. That is a wonderful thing. You have your own floating art gallery around you. Now, these staterooms that we're talking about, and you see some images here, they're beautiful retreats, they're open, airy. There's a multitude of them, right? They are from the entry-level deluxe veranda cabins all the way up to our Explorer suites, even the owner suites. And again, for more information, I encourage you, speak to your travel advisor at Bon Voyage. They will have all the information for you and can match you up with your needs. And that's really the great benefit of having a travel advisor, to discuss your needs and get the right cabin, the right itinerary, the right length, and right product matched with you. So last but not least, I want to talk about the newest addition to Viking, and that is Viking Expedition. Starting in 2022, a really exciting type of vacation, very, very strong, coming onto the world market, where it was a niche in past years, but with a lot more focus coming on for those who seek new adventures, for those that have traveled most of the coastlines, that have done the rivers, that have done the oceans. They look for new shores to experience. And these ships are geared, built, and designed to go into the polar regions. We're talking Svalbard in the Arctic. We're talking down Ushuaia to the Antarctica. But it doesn't end there. These ships are small enough to navigate these remote areas, to provide the speed, the incredible handling, and the stability, because we're talking the Barents Sea, we're talking the Drake Passage. Those are rough seas, as we all know. So you got to have a ship at a certain size to withstand that. But these ships are also small enough to get into the Welland Canal, into the Great Lakes. I'm going to talk about that in a second here. They also have wonderful amenities on board, such as submarines that are, by the way, included in your cruise fare. So you do not pay extra to get into those submarines, 6-seater submarines, ribs, kayaks to, navigate around icebergs and those kind of things. And that's really what it's going to look like as we do landfall in the Arctic, in the Antarctic, to see those creatures that only live in these remote areas of the world, and that many of our travelers will come to see, from penguins to polar bears to orcas to, all kinds of whales. Bird watching will be a main focus as well. And maybe I'm saying a little too much here, but we have also scientists on board, and they will also be accessible to you for question and answers. You can do some research on board with them as they are partnering, as we are partnering with Cornell University, with the NOAA, and Marine Life Institutes. We're collecting samples as we go to these remote areas. Our scientists doing research, and you can be part of that. How amazing is that? So kayaking amongst the glaciers, and there's so many more things that I don't want to mention yet, because I want to leave some fun things open for you to discover as you talk to your travel advisor and learn more about this unique way of traveling. As I promised you, the Great Lakes is also on the map. We will be able to go into this largest freshwater reservoir in the world, the Great Lakes between the United States and Canada, from Toronto to smaller ports that are absolutely amazing. In my research, I learned a lot about the incredible wildlife, the incredible coastlines that are so unique to this region. Mackinac Island, that will be a part of our discovery, and many, many more undiscovered. Great Lakes Niagara will be on there, the Great Lakes Explorer. Now, before we come towards the end of our presentation, I want to kind of point out that until the end of the month, we're still having our risk-free guarantee, which allows you to make a booking, and then up to 2 weeks prior to your sail date, you can change your mind and move that sail date further out up to 2 years. So that is very, very convenient, and it kind of should also instill a little confidence into booking, because we want you to, kind of look at the current inventory. Your travel advisors will probably tell you the same thing. Inventory is always an issue with Viking. You want to kind of look at least a year out. Now, the one thing that Ryan initially said, 2 new itineraries that are available to sail in 2021. And yes, I'm allowed to mention that Iceland's Natural Beauty, the itinerary is very popular. We opened that up yesterday, and I can tell you already it is selling crazy. So we're very excited. Not want to discourage you, but we already in one day we had to add additional sail dates because it is filling up quite handsomely. Secondly, Bermuda escapes. Both of those are 8-day sailings. Bermuda from Hamilton to Hamilton, and I'm looking at it here right now because it is so new. Iceland's Natural Beauty, a round trip. Reykjavik, circumnavigating the entire island of Iceland, and returning to Reykjavik after 8 days. Talk about natural beauty is absolutely amazing. Talk to your travel advisors. Look into this. If you're ready to sail this year, the big news I need to let you know ahead of time is also, and the question will probably come, that masks will be needed and vaccinations will be needed. So you need to be vaccinated to get on this, on any of these 2 journeys this year. So I want to put this out there because I can already in the back of my head hear the questions. Yes, you will need a vaccination. And with that, I hope we have a couple of questions. I'm almost at the end of my presentation. I might have gone a little fast.